Hi, everyone. We are live here on Guard Closet Get It Day 2024. I'm Jeremy. I am the owner and CEO of Guard Closet, a longtime marching band color guard person. And here at Get It Day, we are having lots of discounts and having lots of conversations with lots of different people to sort of kick off the 2024 band season. It's Flag Day, so it's like a good time to feel like you're like jumping in. So just to get it out of the way, if you look, we're having a big sale. If you go to guardcloset.com/getit2024, you can use the code FLASH24 until midnight on Friday, and that will get you 35% off anything that's on that collection. It's basically all of our clearance items. We're giving you even more of a discount on. And then for the next week after today, if you use code GET24, you'll have 25% off for the rest of the week. So we're trying to give you like an incentive to get some stuff today on Flag Day. And I know that there's people buying stuff already and already sitting in their cart. But for our purposes right now, we're actually going to be talking about new stuff, not just consignment. So I'm very excited to have Jarred with us from Showday Designs. Hello, Jarred. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm used to very much having the podcast where I can like hit like the applause button and things like that. In here, so like
there are no buttons.
So why don't you, Jarred? Jarred's from Showday, just so everybody knows, among other things. But Jarred is one of the designers at Showday. So Jarred, why don't you kind of fill in the audience on like who you are and kind of what you do specifically at Showday?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Jeremy said, my name is Jarred. I'm originally from Oklahoma, born and raised here. I now live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am a full-time designer at Showday. I handle probably 99.9% of all of our graphics work that goes into producing garments and flags and props and all of those things. Costumes galore. Right now, it is Flag Friday, and I'm working on all the flag edits that need to be done.
Right, working on all the flags that everybody needs to have. Right? Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So what's your background in terms of like design, and where did you get that bug, and kind of talk us through about how you went from basically being performer, right, I assume, into like, oh, I'm going to design this stuff now.
I've always had a deep fascination with fashion and clothes. And so in high school, I would find myself not paying attention in French class and sketching costumes. When I graduated high school, I started teaching my own little program here in Oklahoma and just started designing everything top to bottom for the marching band and the Winter Guard, which then trickled into designing for a couple of friends here and there. And then that trickled into designing some friends of friends, and flash forward 10 years and here I am.
Crazy, right? Like you're like,
yes.
Oh, look, all of a sudden I'm like actually working and this is a full-time job.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because, you know, as somebody again that does this full-time, that does this marching arts things full-time, did you feel like you had to do like this full-time? Like, because it's our passion, right? It's our hobby. That's kind of where it started. And then it sort of like took over as this like thing you have to do. Is that kind of how you feel about it?
I think it depends on the day. Some days I feel very blessed to do what I do, and other days I'm like, why am I doing this?
yes, there's that.
But it's definitely something that I feel like is a calling for me. Being able to costume young performers and give them empowerment moving forward through their careers is something that's very important to me.
Well, I mean, that is something that I think ultimately is what drives me as well. That sort of like desire to make the performer feel as good as possible. I actually don't even care about the directors like whatsoever. Something to say, but like I honestly don't care about them. I really do care about the performer feeling amazing, looking amazing, you know, all of the things. And I think that that's one of the things that I like to lean on the most is really even just the look to start with, right? Like, I mean, I know everybody's, you especially are familiar with Bobby Biddle from Showday as well. He's like one of my best friends. And Bobby says, and I fully agree with this, if you're like looking good with your good costume and your good props and your good flags, you're about 70% there, really. Like, it really is true, don't you think?
Absolutely. The aesthetic has to be on point, then the confidence will follow.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? Like, how can a kid feel like amazingly confident in not good stuff? Like, when you want to go out on a date, you put on like your date clothes. You don't put on what you're gonna wear, all sloppy and schlocky going out on a Saturday morning, right? That's sort of like what we as, I guess, educated designers, educated producers, educated coordinators understand that. I think most of the new people kind of coming out and coming into it just really don't get.
Yeah.
I'm a big purveyor of let the plumbers plumb, let the hairstylists style, and let the designers design.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I just don't think that and this is really for me, honestly. I mean, I think that I had to learn that I don't have all of the tools in my toolbox to accomplish it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, do you sort of see that? Like, is there a moment where you had to go, okay, I can't do this really well. I have to let somebody else do it.
Yes, absolutely. There have been many a times where I'm like, hey, pal, you're way better at this than me. Let's collaborate. I am all about collaboration. I will tell you what I like and what I do not like. But if I've brought you in to do a job, I'm going to give you the autonomy to do that job.
Exactly. I think that is exactly what needs to be said. We're very good, especially as, an experienced designer like yourself, very good at taking the nugget of the idea that somebody gives you and go, I know how to change this. I know how to make this better. I know how to enhance your vision, right?
Yeah.
Which is ultimately your goal, right? I mean, that's ultimately your goal.
Absolutely.
So how do you think that you do that with taking in someone else's nugget and expanding that? Talk to us a little bit about that process for you.
Yeah, a lot of times clients will come to me and they'll have a pretty good understanding of what they want and what they want the outcome to be. I think through all of my experience in doing this, I kind of have key things that like match my aesthetic. Obviously, they've evolved over the time that I've been doing it, but I kind of take my aesthetic and their vision and try to morph it as one. And I think a lot of times that gives us the best product. I know that like the market is saturated with great costumes across the board. And so a lot of times people will come to me with like a screenshot of like, oh, well, I love this from so-and-so. And then like, I love like this one little line on the left leg from this person.
Shirt and that collar and this sleeve, and that's it. That's exactly it. I mean,
yes. Yes. And so they come all helter-skelter with all these pieces. And then it's up to me to make a cohesive look while still trying to provide them something that's original to them. ColorGuard has been around for a very long time, so it's often difficult not to be compared to somebody else, but we tried very hard.
Of course. Listen, everybody has their aesthetic, their niche. I mean, Tommy Hilfiger is different than Calvin Klein, is different than Walmart, right? And we as the activity, I like to say this too, we as the activity have all of those available to us as well. You can get a Walmart version of a costume and absolutely pay minimal money and get a basic, and it's gonna work. It's not gonna be perfect for your show, but it's gonna work, right?
Right.
It's the idea of taking like an Egyptian show and going, well, the costume doesn't have to have a pyramid on it. It can be blue and gold, and if you don't have the budget for everything in the world. That being said, the budget for things, especially now in that digital printing is such a thing, it kind of has like a little bit evened out, like the prices of fabrics and things like that have obviously gone up, but the production of graphics and stuff has made it kind of come down a little bit. So like you could get a pretty decently made unitard with a little side skirt for like $130, $125, you know, depending on how many people or whatever. And I think that that's a simple, great basic. However, and this is where I want you to speak to it, is please don't just take a Shutterstock or take another graphic and slap it onto that unitard and say, I've designed myself a lovely little unitard. How does that make you feel, Jarred?
That makes me feel like you've done my job for me. No, we also try very hard not to just take an asset and throw it into something because that's not original.
I find it doesn't have the depth for some reason.
Correct.
You know, it just feels very flat. When you take a Shutterstock image, I don't care what the image is. It just feels very flat versus taking something that someone like a designer has gone in and graphically manipulated or created out of multiple images or created from scratch. I had one of my designers a while ago, I wanted a flag, you know, it was like a disco flag and I wanted this like eyeball on it, whatever. And he could have very easily gone to Shutterstock, found a disco ball, put the eyeball on it, kind of a little bit, you know, superimpose it, whatever. He could have very easily done that, and that would have been fine, right? But it would have served the purpose. But instead, he made his whole eye up in drag makeup, took a close-up photo of it, and put that on the disco ball, and it changed the entire thing because
absolutely.
And people immediately were like, that eye, and it's like, yeah, it's a real eye. And I mean, obviously those are real eyes on Shutterstock, but there's just something different, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can talk to Joe about it. It takes me a long time to do flags because I have so many layers and so many different components trying to create that special image and something that has depth that the customer is happy with.
Depth is like 100% like the pure thing that I think we as a activity overdo in some ways. Like we try to go too deep with like the explanation of the show and the this and the this and the this. But in terms of like the actual design, I don't think people are going really deep enough into creating something that is cohesive and lovely and wonderful.
Right.
So I actually want to take this and like shift gears ever so slightly because I think this could be very helpful for people and what we're about to do. So, Jarred obviously works with Showday, and I am a client of one of my clients is Widener University, and they obviously they're a university, so they have they have certain requirements, I guess, you know, in terms of what they can wear and what they shouldn't wear, and so we don't often, you know, get into we don't often get into the into the aesthetics of what a uniform looks like and into certain things when you're in a university. Plus, like, it's not competitive. I think that's kind of maybe the other part of it, and it's not really like a competitive thing. So you're kind of free to do a whole lot more than you would normally do. So as a university, we have a set uniform, okay? Widener University has a set uniform. It's your basic collegiate gold and blue, you know, little collegiate number, right? So we don't have to, it's hard to take in those things. But this year they're doing a show called From Vinyl at Heart, from record to, you know, digital. And we have all these props and all of this stuff. So the conversation with Jarred is really around kind of our stage setup. So starting right here at the beginning of our design, this is kind of our opening set. And you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 round stages that are all white right now. That's what the white picture is, I guess, is the way to say it. So those are the white round stages, and they're different sizes, they're different heights. Like the 4 in the front are like 2 feet tall and like 4 feet in diameter. And I would give you all the specs of these, you know, later.
Sure.
Just to have this initial sort of conversation. Then there's other round stages in the back that I have 2 6-foot, 2 5.5, and 3 4-foot diameters. They can all be stood up on their side and rolled and moved. The ones in the front stay there and are stationary. Then they also are 4 10 by 10 backdrops that start where they are right now, but eventually will move back, backfield, and things will happen. So as a customer, I need to come to my designer with not only this picture, but probably this picture and this picture and this picture, because each of those are going to create a different look overall. And you as the designer are gonna want to know all of those things. I think you're already getting excited. I sort of see you like
the wheels are definitely turning.
So and this is what we want, right? This is what you want as a customer, to have your designer working in this way. And I want to say this also to everybody. Keep in mind, like, this isn't costing you more money to do. Having the designer be able to have a conversation with them is exactly what the designer wants, to be able to have a better product in the end for you, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you might end up paying like $100 in a design fee or something like that, but like when you break that down into like all the things you're going to buy with it, it's like nothing, right? Like nothing. So this is sort of the opening set. We obviously want the idea of that vinyl record look, but we want to change it. Like, each song, it can have a different look, right? So like the front 4 would probably start off looking like records, right, on the top in some kind of way. The sides, I don't know, a stack of records, could be really anything, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of have like a DJ feel maybe in the beginning, like, and that I mean like the sound of a record, like original old school DJ songs. That's also one thing with college bands. We get to do like just whatever the hell we want to. Amazing, and no consequences.
Right.
So it will start off that way, and like everybody, the entire band will be down there in that space. Let me go back to that first one. The band is actually all among that, sitting on the white props, all that. The color guard's actually in the back with the other white ones, and those will be standing up. So they're laying flat right now, but they'll all be standing up with records, vinyl on there as well. The backdrops, I don't know. I do know that they start where they start. They're gonna move back. We have dancers behind them. These props will eventually turn. I think at the beginning of our third song, where we have 20 Pride Pack dancers, like dance team, come out from behind them, and it's separate from the color guard. And that's when the dance happens. Is also when those round stages in the back start moving in the drill, and we're changing them from records to CDs now. So by the mid second song, which is right. That's the end. Let's see, where is my? Yeah, so like this is the kind of beginning of the second, third song. Now we have the props sort of in this way. From here is where those round stages in the back, I will have band members start to like roll them and move them and do, fun things on top of them and turn them over, turn them around. The back of them could have something on it, but then it's going to be laying on the ground at certain points. So, I don't know how we want to think about that, but I'm all for like ripping off the record or having it flap over, something like that. And to get the change over to the CD. Now at the end of the third song, when we're finally moving into that, I guess what would be the final look of the show, this set right here is kind of where the props will be for the whole end of the fourth song, which is Miley Cyrus's Flowers. So you can see the red people there in the center. That's our Pride Pack. They will be there dancing down there. And then the color guard will be on the field doing the color guard thing. But the end song, I think being like flowers, I kind of want to get all of that scene too. You know what I mean? I think that's also where you and I talked about that double swing flag thing coming in with that
Mm-hmm.
swing flag, which I'm not showing anybody on here, Jared, because as soon as I show it, everybody's gonna have it. And
Right.
Widener has it, and you design it, and then everybody wants that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to reveal too many. As soon as I sent that to Bobby, I was like, "Don't you show it to Joe? Don't send it to anybody. I don't want anybody using it."
Because you know it's going to be the next on the flag menu.
Exactly. So, but that being all flowers or whatever, I think would be super fierce, and then just like the whole thing being that kind of digital flower, you know what I mean? Because now it's like we've gone from vinyl all the way to that digital, online streaming experience. So that like flowers with that vibe and that feel could be cool too.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking like even like if the compact disc stays on the top, maybe it's the stuff on the side that changes to flowers or something. Like we could take that off and underneath all flowers. I'm sort of like open. I just know we need to hit vinyl, CD, flowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just from the standpoint of the props. Obviously, then you have the actual equipment, which I think the opener is September from Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think that's going to be a basic 6-foot flag. The second song is Whitney, I Want to Dance with Somebody. I could go a lot of different ways with that. We actually start with a slow version of the I Want to Dance with Somebody. And then we very specifically have like DJ remix, wah, 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 like all those sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 90s, I Want to Dance with Somebody, like, on the dance floor in the middle of the gay club, getting it. Like that's like, it ends there, right? Like Whitney ends there. And then that goes to Taylor Swift, Shake It Off. I don't think I'm spinning anything in Shake It Off. That's mostly like Pride Pack and rifles and stuff like that.
Sure.
The color guard might be like helping to move the props and stuff. And then obviously the ending is flowers, which I could just do the double swing flag. I feel like I probably need another 6-foot flag, at least probably in the transition of the end of Taylor Swift, probably comes in with some music into the beginning of flowers. So there's probably like maybe that transitional flag that's like maybe showing the digital start, and then obviously, coming out with the swing flags of flowers and being obnoxious as we can with that to sort of end it all up.
Right.
That's a lot of information to take in, isn't it?
It is quite a bit, but I love having all the information because then we can start to put the puzzle together.
Right? What you want. Now, everybody watching, fully understand that this conversation is happening, but I have also already sent Jarred a bunch of files to already say, like, here's the music, here's the this, so that now he and I can have this conversation in a little bit more of an intelligent way. Of course, now Jarred will go back and do what? Go ahead, Jarred. Talk about the next part of your process.
Yeah. So from here, we will obviously, you just gave me a lot of information about kind of what you picture for the production. So now what happens is I go back and I just start making a bunch of chicken scratch notes on my little notebook over here and start trying to formulate the best ways that we can illustrate the story that you're trying to tell. So for me, after this conversation, that dramatic trend from a few years ago when people would have a picture of them, but then like pixels of them like going away.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that we should consider leaning into as a good way to blur the transition from the vinyl to the CDs to the flowers. That just gives us lots of space and lots of room.
Yeah. Maybe that's even kind of like, I guess the thought with the it's the backdrops. I think I always find that those are sort of like complicated in a way because they kind of got to be there the whole time and doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You want to use them to tell a whole story. It's a little complicated, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think for the purpose of this story, the backdrops are moderately simple. I think that we go from the top of this with like a nice, vibrant, colored vinyl that starts to pixelate itself down into nothingness. But then when you flip that over, we've kind of reversed that idea, and the top portion is pixelated now into a CD. But at the bottom of this, we can have CDs laid within a bed of flowers. If that makes sense.
Right. See, people, this is called building a look. This is layering in a look. This is what the people should be doing, and not just grabbing the picture of the CD and slapping it on the back of the backdrop. That's the level difference, right? That's where you go from basic to better. And we just made the show 6,000 times better, and I have not written a piece of choreography. No one has spun anything, played a note, and certainly in a competitive way, having this aesthetically as a judge, and it's going like out there, you're like, already you're ready to like see an amazing show.
Absolutely. I live by the whole motto that excellence is in the details. And if you don't worry about the details, might not want to worry about anything else.
That's right. Like, why bother getting the flags to go around if everybody's not wearing a beautiful costume? Like, it's just
right.
That's so funny. Well, Jarred, I'm really glad you were able to jump on here and join us. Is there anything that you'd want to leave people with as it comes to design in the 2024 or going further seasons?
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to communicate with your designers. We are here to help bring your vision to life, while we also impart our wisdom upon you of why some things may be a great or not so great choice. And don't wait. Anything that you can get going, we'll happy to talk about it now. I already have several people on my list talking about the indoor season.
Right. You hear that, people? We're already talking indoor. It's true. Get
Sweet baby, can we just get these drum corps orders out the door, please? But don't wait. And communication is always open. And the relationship you have with your designer is incredibly important, because over the years, you want to try to be consistent, so you're building that good relationship so they can help you and better understand your brain, and vice versa.
And realize it's not wrong to want a designer like this. You do not have to do it all. You do not have to do it all. I'm looking into the camera. You do not have to do it. Just saying that. Okay. Well, thanks, Jarred, for joining us.
Yes, of course.
Like I said before, if anybody wants to go and check out what we have on the sale, it's guardcloset.com/getit2024. You use the code today, /24, for the next 24 hours, or getit24 for 25% off the rest of the week. I know Jarred and Showday have things flying in from a design standpoint and flying back out in terms of production. So that's super exciting. They have lots of in-stock and custom stuff that you can find on the Guard Closet website for sure. So again, thank you all. Happy Flag Day. That's what today is. If you have not gotten your flag started, you're still okay a little bit. But if you've not gotten costumes started, that should have happened yesterday. So thank you again, Jarred, for joining us. And I'm so excited to see the Widener stuff now. I can't even take it. So
yes, thanks for having me. It was fun.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.